Last week, we had begun learning what is expected from the people for burnt offering, for grain, and peace offerings. And we also learned the duties of the priest once these offerings were offered. I'm sure many people were only focused on the sin offering, the offerings that were made by blood. But as you read, as we will continue to read, I should say, they're more than just offerings of blood. Welcome to Reconcile the Kingdom, where we're working towards becoming in harmony of the whole word of truth. My name is PATRICE Robinson. As always, I appreciate you stopping by on today. We're going to go over the significant events of Leviticus chapters 4 through 6. Chapter 4. Yehovah gave Moses the instructions to give to the people, to the priests, and the leaders to offer an offering of sins we commit unintentionally. This offering is the bull, and the priest would need to dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 7 times before the veil, and some on the altar horns of incense, and the rest of blood goes to the bronze altar. There are continual details on how to cleaning of the animals and what to do with the insides, such as the kidney. We are to treat this as the same as a peace offering. I noticed 2 differences with the offerings. The sin offering is to be burnt outside the camp. I believe I got that correct. And there are options of a goat or a lamb of a female gender, and it doesn't only require a male. Chapter 5. The guilt offering is interesting. So if you go to court and you refuse to testify about something that you witnessed, it's a sin. The chapter goes on about being unaware of you touching unclean things, animals, and it becomes a word to you that you should offer a guilt offering. It continues on about making vows without thinking, and you become aware and you should repent. You have a few options for a guilt offering. You can bring a lamb, but if you cannot afford a lamb, you can bring 2 turtle doves or young doves. One can be a sin offering, and then one would be a burnt offering. Yehovah even thinks of the lower income by saying you could bring 2 quarts of fine flour if you can't even afford the turtle doves. Or the young doves. He even thinks about those that if you're destroying the holy property, now this is what you have to do. You will need to bring a ram for a guilt offering. You must pay restitution by paying for the loss plus an additional 20%. Finally, if you sin by breaking a commandment unaware and you become aware of it, you can offer a ram. Chapter 6. We continue with the guilt offering. Here we're talking about sin against not only Yehovah, but against your neighbor by lying, cheating, fraud, finding lost property and lying, saying you didn't find it. You lie about, you swear that you tell them the truth, extortion. You must pay restitution plus 20% and offering a guilt offering of a ram. This chapter begins to help understand what portion of the offerings the priest can have from these specific offerings. The grain offering is offered by the handful with oil and frankincense for a pleasing aroma for Yehovah, and the rest goes to the priest. They're required to bake it without yeast and eaten in the courtyard. Then we skip down to the ordination offering of Aaron and his sons, and then we go back to the offering. The priest that offers the sin offering must eat their portion in the courtyard and not in the tabernacle. So we have the priest getting a portion of the offerings, and some portions going to Yehovah, but they could not leave the courtyard and eating but it had to be eaten in a courtyard. They didn't go take their portion to their home and ate their portion. It was eaten amongst the tabernacle. The focus is offering. We have covered the burnt offering, the grain, which is the meal offering for some, peace, sin, guilt offerings. For the past 2 weeks, we went over all these offerings. As you know, the burnt offerings were nothing new. This has been offered to Yehovah since the beginning. Offerings were not just to be given, but it's a way to draw near to Yehovah. Due to sin has taken us out of his presence, and he wasn't visiting man like he used to, like the days of the garden, because sin separated us from him. Sin brought in death. Because you sin, you pay the cost of death. The Yehovah designed this because the blood covenant was broken, and he wanted a way to come back into fellowship with him. He didn't take pleasure in his creation being killed on the behalf of the other creation because they couldn't obey. Animals he chose wasn't wild animals. They were peaceful ones. We may not like that the animals died. Again, that's creation dying for another creation because we couldn't obey. We may not like it, although this was very common, amongst the cultures in those days. The difference is the nation of Israel, the house of Israel, did not sacrifice humans, babies, and children. But without shedding of blood, there isn't remission for sin. We need remission of sin to bring us back into the presence of Yehovah, to reconcile back with him. That's what his son did on our behalf. He redeemed us and paid our death penalty. I know I said it last week, but we need to remember what he did. Join me on Saturday at 10 o'clock a.m. as we continue a Kingdom of Covenants. And I will see you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. for Torah Chat Points. And as always, man does not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yehovah, the Torah. Have a blessed rest of the week. Thank you.